Brighton have had a phenomenal season. Under Roberto De Zerbi's management, they have got European football next year after finishing 6th in the Premier League. That's an amazing achievement, but I'm going to take it from here. So today I am becoming the new manager of Brighton, and by the end of this video I will make them the best team in the world. The transfer wheel is back to make my life a little tougher, but there's some new options on that wheel which we'll get into a little bit later. So this is the Brighton team I've loaded into, and EA have done these boys dirty. This team finished top 6 in real life, and EA have made them look like a mid-table team at best. But we all know Brighton have got some really good players. The likes of Spanish keeper Sanchez, English youngster Tariq Lamptey, and of course the winger that's taken the Prem by storm, Mitoma. Now obviously Caicedo is still in the team. That's because in real life at the time of recording this video, the talks between Chelsea and Brighton aren't going anywhere, so for now he's staying at Brighton. But other teams didn't muck around, as Alexis McAllister has moved to Liverpool. And I'm not messing with the formation at all. I really enjoy the 4-2-3-1. And to kickstart season 1, we've got 46 million to spend. So that just begs the question, where do we put that money? Now as far as the defence and goalkeeper goes, I'm happy to leave it as it is. I think they'll improve a lot as the season progresses. And obviously Daoud from Dortmund is a new signing for Brighton, so he'll go into the midfield alongside Caicedo, which just leaves our striker and our central attacking midfielder position to improve. But as you guys know, we aren't in control of the transfers, so let's go over to the wheel to see what we can do. So as you can see, I've made a change. I've removed all the countries and I've put some really good options on there and some really bad ones as well. So we are spinning the wheel for the first time in this video. What are we going to land on? Oh. What is O? Only sign a player whose surname begins with O. Now, off top of my head, I can't think of anyone. Who the bloody hell's name starts with O? Now, remember, we've only got 2 transfers and 46 mil to spend this season, so we're going to have to be very tactical about this. And to be honest, I found some absolute balls like Martin Odegaard, Mikhailo Yarzabal, and Dani Olmo. But as you can imagine, they're all a little bit too expensive. But this guy is in our budget. Lucas Ocampos from Sevilla. He's 27 years old. He's 80 rated. He's got a market value with 19.5 million. I think we can make this work. And we have officially made our first signing as Brighton manager, with Lucas Ocampos coming in for just 20.5 million. And to be fair, even though I didn't want to buy for that position, we still have improved it, so that is a little bit of a W. But we still have one more spin on that wheel. Okay, second spin of the wheel and final spin of the wheel this year. Okay, what's this? Less than 20 mil. Only sign a player whose market value is less than 20 million. Jesus Christ. To be fair, that's kind of perfect because we've only got 19 million to spend anyway, so really that's all we can afford. And boys, I think I found a striker I want for a couple of seasons. Armando Broja from Chelsea. He's 20 years old, 75 rated, market value with 10.5 million. I think he's spot on for what we need. And that's our transfer window done, which leaves our team looking like this for our first season in charge of Brighton. And you'll have noticed Tariq Lamptey's picked up an injury. He's only out for another 4 weeks though. And obviously I have changed the formation to a 4-3-3 holding variation. This is because Adam Lallana's already gone down in overall. And as for my expectations this year, honestly I'm thinking mid-table. There's no way this Brighton team's getting anywhere near the top 6. Well boys, we've just arrived in January and it isn't looking good. We're 16th in the league halfway through the season. We are literally only 3 points above the drop zone. I knew we weren't going to get top 6, but I did not expect us to do this badly. And it's actually our new signing Ocampos leading the way with 10 goals and 5 assists in 22 games. And obviously we've made our 2 signings, so this is the squad that's going to finish off season 1. And we've been riddled with injuries this year. First it was Lamptey, now it's Broja, and he's out for another 2 months. Our first year in charge of Brighton has been a massive L so far. I'm hoping by the end of this season though we'll have at least got to a mid-table spot. Well, we've just arrived in June and you ain't gonna believe where we finished. 6th in the league at the end of this season. We've literally matched what Brighton did in real life. How are we 16th in January but finished 6th in June? That just doesn't make any sense. And I've just realised something. I didn't put Brighton in any European competitions, man. That's twice I've done this now. Please don't come for me. I am actually beyond amazed we pulled 6th place off with this team. I know Campos was our best player. 21 goals and 9 assists in 42 games. That's pretty impressive for your Premier League debut. Well, we began the season horribly and we've ended it insanely well, from 16th place to 6th place. That's pretty decent going. But next year, budget depending and wheel depending, we've got to improve from this and hopefully we can do well in Europe. And if you're still watching right now, consider dropping the video a like, hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 30,000 subscribers before the end of next month, so if you can help me out achieving that goal, that would be amazing. We're starting season 2 by spinning the wheel. What are we going to land on this time? What is that? What? Get rid. Say goodbye to your best player. Release him now. You've got to be kidding me? We've got a slight issue. Our best players are all rated the same as Stupinin, Ocampos and Matoma. So it looks like I'm going to the wheel to decide who I'm actually going to sell out of these three. Okay, boys, there's Stupinin, Ocampos and Matoma. Who am I getting rid of? Oh, for God's sake, Matoma. Really? I really like that guy as well. I really was hoping to keep this guy until the end, but I know the rules. I have to get rid of him for 1.862 million. I suppose the bright side, at least we do have solid March to go into that position for the time being. And we also have 60 million to spend all on one player next, so hopefully the wheel doesn't shaft us again. Second spin of the wheel. What's it going to give us this time? Wonder Kid. Okay, what's that? Sign a Wonder Kid. Simple as that. Now, obviously, my first thought is to bring in a better winger than March, but I'm thinking of leaving the front three alone for this season. The midfield's pretty decent, the front three are pretty decent as well. I want to improve our defence. Primarily bringing in a better centre-back than Veltman, and I've got a few choices. We have Benfica centre-back Antonio Silva, who's 77 rated at 19 years old. We have Bayer Leverkusen centre-back Piero Ncape, who's 79 rated at 21 years old. And we've also got Portuguese centre-back Gonçalo Inácio, who's already 81 rated at 21 years old. Now, we've got three choices here. Spend little on Silva, spend quite big on Ncape, or spend all of our money on Gonçalo Inácio. I think I know exactly what I'm going to do. That's correct, boys. I went for Bayer Leverkusen centre Piero Ncape, and he cost us 30 million. And with that, our transfer window's done, and now the team looks like this going into Season 2. And even with us having to get rid of Matoma, this team looks pretty good. Especially with the new addition of centre-back Ncape, I think he's going to be the difference maker this year. Put it this way, if last season we got top 6 with a worse team than this, who knows what we can achieve this time. And this time we are in a European competition. We're in the Conference League in Group F alongside Maritimo, Lech Poznan and Elfsborg. And I'll be real, I'm not sure how good any of those teams are, so I'm hoping that we can come out on top of this group. Well, we've just arrived in January, and it's a slight improvement from last year. We're 9th in the league halfway through the season. I'll be honest though, I definitely expected us to do a little bit better to this point. And thankfully, we have indeed topped Group F of the Conference League, and we're going to the round of 16. And once again, Ocampos is leading the charge. 11 goals and 10 assists in 29 games. Isn't bad at all for a winger. And obviously, we've used our transfers this year, so this is the Brighton team that's going to finish off Season 2. And there's a couple of individuals that are standing out straight away. 84 rated Stupinin, 85 rated Caicedo, and 86 rated Ocampos. No wonder he's our top goal scorer and assister. Fingers crossed that by the end of this season, we can do what we did last year and just rinse the Premier League. We've just arrived in June and we choked it. 9th in the league at the end of this season. How did we do so well last year with a weaker team and then do so poorly this year with a better team? But to be fair, we made it to the semis of the Conference League, only losing to Fiorentina 2-1. It's literally 2 positions laying us down on that pitch, and I think we're definitely capable of bringing silverware home to Brighton. And Armando Broja is our top goal scorer this time with 27 goals and 4 assists in 45 games. Compared to Season 1, this year has been a bit of an L. 9th place in the Premier League, no European football for next year. The only positive is we actually did do well in the Conference League. Hopefully next year we get a couple of decent options on the wheel, we've got a good budget to work with, and we can further improve the squad. We're now into Season 3 with Brighton, and when you look at the squad, it's obvious where we need to improve it. We need a better centre midfielder, and we desperately need a better left winger than March. Once we've sorted those positions out, the rest of the team is golden, and we can definitely compete for top 6, maybe even top 4 football. And we've got a very good budget to work with, 83 million to spend this year. The first pin of Season 3, what's it going to give us this time? 5'7". Sign a player who's 5'7" or shorter. That shouldn't be too difficult to find a winger with that height. Now, I'll be honest, that was tricky, but I found 4 players I can bring into the team. Winger Daniel Podence, who's 5'5". Sean Clark, who currently plays for Chelsea, who's 5'7". Raheem Sterling, who's also 5'7". And Phil Foden, who is also 5'7". But his market value alone is 112.5 million, so he's out of the question. Now, my guts is telling me to go for Sean Clark. He's 78 rated, 18 years old. He could potentially come good. But I'm going to listen to my head this time and go for Sterling, who's 85 rated and 29 years old. Now, we do have 83.4 mil to spend, and his market value is 45.5 million. So really, if we don't spend too much, we should be okay. So to start off, I'm going to offer them 50 million just to see what he says. Okay, they want 70 million on the dot. not. That's not going to happen. Okay, let's offer 55.5 million just to see if they'll go for it. They want 66.4 million. Okay, they're coming down a bit. We can definitely get lower than that. Let's go for 60 million on the dot. I think that's pretty fair. There we go. We've met in the middle and we're getting Raheem Sterling for 60 million pound. And this is how the team looks now with Sterling and the side, and that front three looks bloody insane. But there is some bad news. We've overspent massively. We've got 17 mil to spend on our next transfer. Really, I should have gone for Sean Clark, shouldn't I? Okay, the second spin of the wheel. What's it going to give us this time? Rivals. Okay, what's rivals? Sign a player of your choice from your team's biggest rivals. Okay, that's an interesting one. Now, as far as I'm aware, Brighton's main rivals are Crystal Palace. It's known as the A23 rivalry or something like that. But looking through the team, there's not really many players that stand out to me. I'm going to have to do some proper looking. Now, the only player that's decent and the one I could afford is Thomas Daly. He's 80 rated, 32 years old. We'll be taking a pretty good player off them with this guy. And for the price of 12.9 million, we have signed Thomas Delaney on a 2-year contract. And with that, our 2 transfers are used up, and this is the Brighton team going into Season 3. Now, as you'll have noticed, I've switched to the 4-3-3 defensive variation. That's because Delaney's a bit better than Pascal Gross, or however you pronounce his name. But I'm liking the looks of this team. The goalkeeper, defense, midfield, the front three, everywhere on that pitch is solid now. Now, last year we finished 9th, and that for me is absolutely unacceptable. This year with this team, we definitely need to be getting European football. We've just arrived in January, and it's a little better than last year. We're 7th in the league after 21 games. Now, there's 2 things that are annoying me about this. West Ham for some reason are 3rd place, and Spurs for some reason are 1st place. Like, how are Spurs getting 1st place in the Prem? That doesn't make any sense. And I'll be honest, these stats aren't that impressive. 10 goals for Broha, 8-2 for Ocampos, 6-2 for Delaney, and 4-4 for Sterling. Sterling has really let me down. We spent a lot of money on this guy for only 8 goal contributions in 23 games. He needs to buck his ideas up. And obviously we've used our 2 transfers up, so this is the team that's going to finish off Season 4. It's quite literally our midfield that's letting us down. Everywhere else on that pitch is absolutely insane. Here's hoping that by the end of this season, this Brighton side are once again going to be playing European football next year. We've just arrived in January and it's about time. 4th in the league at the end of this season. And the best part, Spurs bottled the league as per usual. And we had a decent FA Cup run, making it to the quarterfinals before losing to Newcastle United. Our only weakness in that starting 11 is that midfield. Once we sort that out next season, we'll be good to go. And honestly, for top 4 football, these stats aren't that impressive. 21-1 for Broha, 19-11 for Ocampos, and 11-4 for Moda. Sterling was a massive letdown this year. 14 goal contributions in 44 games. That is a joke. But regardless of that, we've finally done it. Top 4 football. I'm not sure if that gets us Champions League football, but I know for a fact it gets us European football. We've just got to hope that wheel doesn't shaft us. We can further improve the team, and then hopefully we can finally bring back silverware to Brighton. We're now into Season 4 with this Brighton team, and when you take a look at the squad, there's 2 positions we really need to focus our attention on. We need a new centre-back because Dunk's overall is declining and his age is getting the better of him now. And we also need a better CDM because Delaney's 78 rated now, and just like Dunk, his age is getting the better of him. Once we sorted those positions out, we have literally got every chance in the world of competing in every competition this year. And we've got a very healthy budget to work with this time, 105 million to spend. So we're spinning the wheel for the first time this season. What's it going to give us? Is that 31 plus? Okay, sign a player who's 31 or older. To be fair, that's not the worst one out of the bunch. Now for our first signing, I'm focused on bringing in a better centre-back because it's more important to have a good defence and a good midfield. And I've finally narrowed it down to 3 candidates, starting with John Stones, who's 84 rated at 31 years old, Antonio Rudiger, who's 88 rated at 32 years old, and Marquinhos, who's 31 years old and 90 overall. But I'm going to go for Marquinhos because he's only got 12 months left on his contract, meaning we can get a 90 rated player for very cheap. And for 55.1 million, we have just signed one of the best centre-backs in the world. And with Marquinhos in the team, that defence is literally insane. And we've got one more spin on that wheel, and hopefully it does give us once again a decent option. Spin number 2 of Season 4. What are we landing on this time? Free agents. Okay. sign a free agent. That's not that bad, to be fair. And boys, believe me, I found the answer to our midfield problem. Kevin De Bruyne, 89 rated. He is 34 years old, but I bet we'll get at least 1 or 2 good seasons out of him. And with that, our transfer window's done, and this is our team going into season 4. And as you can see, we're reverted back to the 4-3-3 holding. That's because we've now got 2 centre midfielders as opposed to 2 CDMs. And I'll be honest, I'm very confident of what we can achieve now with the new additions of Marquinhos and Kevin De Bruyne in this squad. And boys, we've done it. We're finally in the Champions League. We're in Group A alongside Inter Milan, Sporting and Young Boys. Now, Inter Milan are a strong team. Sporting are pretty decent and Young Boys are alright, but I don't care. I want us to top this group with flying colours. We've just arrived in January and we are 5th in the league, and from 5th place to 2nd place it's quite tight, but Liverpool are running riot this year. And unfortunately we didn't top the group, but we have made it to the round of 16, finishing 2nd. And to be fair, for January these stats are pretty impressive. 16 and 4 for Broja, 11 and 5 for Ocampos and 7 for Sterling. Well, to be fair, 7 goals isn't that impressive out of 25 games, is it? But we have used our transfers up this year, so this is the Brighton squad going into the knockouts. And once again, Lamptey has picked up an injury and he'll be out for another 2 months, which, I'll be honest, isn't exactly ideal when we're about to enter the Champions League knockouts for our very first time. But we have to deal with the cards we're dealt, and hopefully in the round of 16 we're not up against the likes of Man City and PSG. Well, first up in the knockouts is actually RB Leipzig. They are a pretty good team, don't get me wrong, but they're nowhere near as good as the likes of Manchester City and PSG. But the bad news is, whilst Lamptey has returned from his injury, Estupinan has picked up a bloody suspension, so we've got our best left back out for this game. But overall, when you take a look at our team and compare it to theirs, realistically, we should be beating these guys. We're at home in the first leg. What's the result? It's a 1-0 win. Broja in the 32nd, and we get the advantage going into the second leg. We've got our strongest starting 11 back for the second leg, and we also have the 1-0 advantage. It's our game to lose, really. Surely we've got to be going to the quarterfinals. Bloody hell, fire. Olmo in the 30s takes it to extra time, and once again, Broja in the 107th minute saves our bacon, and we are into the quarterfinals. Now, this should be quite interesting as we've got Inter Milan next up in the knockouts, and to be honest, their team is actually bloody good. I'm assuming that's Gonçalo Ramos up top with Lautaro Martinez, Barnes, Elmas, Kessie, Laporte. That is a very good squad. And these guys also beat us to that top spot in the group stage, so this is going to be quite intriguing to see how we felt. Wow. Okay, Sterling, De Bruyne, and also Webster in the 88, 3-1 up. We've got a very good advantage going into the second leg. I'll be honest, from the position we're in right now, it is actually harder to go out at this point. We are 3-1 up on aggregate. Surely we're in the semi-finals now. 4th, oh my god. Oh my god, we did not. Why has he gone to extra time every single second leg? And next up in the knockout, our bogey team, Bayer Leverkusen. I swear on my life, we hadn't better lose to these guys. I mean, looking at their team, it is pretty good, but it's not good enough to beat us. We're away from home in the first leg. You have got to be joking me. You have got to be joking me. Now, a 2-1 deficit isn't impossible to overturn. We can definitely get back into this game. We're at the Falmer Stadium. We're at home this time. Brighton, for God's sake, don't let me down. Oh, I am so done. I am so done. Bayer Leverkusen, man. Why do you just exist to torment me? I've got such a burning hatred for Bayer Leverkusen lately, man. Why can we never beat them? Honestly, if we haven't done well in the Premier League this time, that is literally the icing on the cake. Well, we've just arrived in June, and thankfully we got top 4 football, 3rd in the league at the end of this season. And the best part, we finished above Spurs. Don't you just love it? I find it incredible that Kevin De Bruyne is 88 rated, still at 34 years old, man. What an absolute pull he was. Now, these stats are pretty impressive. 33 and 4 for Broja, 19 and 13 for Ocampos, and 17 and 5 for Sterling. To be fair, this has been our best season so far. 3rd place in the Prem, and we got to the semis of the Champions League before getting knocked out by our bogey team, Bayer Leverkusen. But we've got to step it up next year. We've got to somehow get lucky again with the wheel and hopefully improve the team even further. So we're once again going to spin the wheel to see what it's going to give us. 31 plus again. Okay, we've actually got pretty lucky. Sign a player who's 31 or older. And looking at the team, let's be honest, we need a better midfielder than Dawood. He's 83 rated and by a mile the weakest link in this squad. And because we had such a good season last year, we've got 192 million to spend. So at this point, we can pretty much buy whoever we want. And after spending ages searching for midfielder, I finally found the one I want. Leon Goretzka, who currently plays for RB Leipzig. He's 6'2", 31 years old, 88 rated. I can't think of anybody better to go into this team. And for 84.5 million on the dot, we have signed Leon Goretzka on a 3-year contract. And with Goretzka now in the side, I'd honestly be very content on leaving this team as it is. And obviously, as you can see, I've switched the formation to a 4-2-3-1. It just makes sense with the likes of Goretzka, Caicedo and De Bruyne in the midfield now. But we've got one more transfer to make and one more spin of that wheel to make. Second and final spin of the wheel. What are we going to land on this time? Okay, we're signing another free agent. That, I'll be honest with you, that's a bit gutting. We've still got so much money to spend. Now, I spent a long time searching on that free agents list, and the best I could find is Spanish fullback Aaron, who's 29 years old and 79 rated. We don't need him, but we do have to make a free agent transfer, so this guy will just have to do. And those are our transfers used up, which leaves the team looking like this going into Season 5. We've come a long way with this Brighton side from Season 1 with no 80 rated players to now with 3 90+ rated players in the squad. And of course, we are in the Champions League. We're in Group A this time alongside Napoli, Sporting once again, and Galatasaray. Now, last year, Inter Milan were the strongest team in our group, and they proved it by topping it, and that's exactly what I want us to do this time. We've definitely got the quality in the team, and there's no reason why we can't do it. While we just arrived in January, and it is disappointing. 8th in the league halfway through the season. We are so hit and miss in the Premier League, I literally don't know where we're going wrong. We're in the Champions League, we finished top of the group, and we're flying to the round of 16. Make it make sense. But to be fair, the stats are pretty good. 16-3 for Broha, 11-7 for Sterling, and 10-3 for Ocampos. And obviously, we've used our transfers up, so this is the Brighton team once again going into the Champions League knockouts. I might be biased, but this team's definitely capable of winning it this year. We got to the semi-finals last year with an even worse team than this. We've created a monster with Brighton, and I think this team has genuinely got what it takes to win this entire thing. We started by smashing PSG in the round of 16 and smashing Arsenal in the quarters, which means we are once again in the semi-final. First it was PSG, then it was Arsenal, and now Manchester United in the semi-final. And after beating PSG, I'm not fussed about whoever we come up against anymore. Even with Ocampos out injured, we've got a very good shot against past United. We're at home in the first leg, and oh my, Sterling in the 44th, then Broha with a brace. Boys, we've got a very good advantage going into the second leg. We are in the dream scenario right now. 3-1 up in the second leg against Manchester United. Boys, it's ours to lose. Are we finally going to get to that Champions League final? We beat them twice in a row, boys. 5-2 on aggregate, Marquinhos and Sterling. We have made it to the Champions League final. And in that final, we face off against our old friends Inter Milan. That's going to be quite an interesting game. And in the Premier League, we didn't recover. 6th in the league at the end of this season. You know it's bad when Spurs finish above you, for God's sake. But the good news is we beat the Premier League champions to get to the final, so that's actually a pretty good achievement. And to make matters worse, Spurs actually knocked us out of the FA Cup in round 5, man. It just doesn't get any more embarrassing than that. And do you want to know something funny? KDB has been a centre midfielder for us since we signed him. I've converted him to a cam. He's gone up to 88 rated again at 35 years old. This guy's just a baller. And these stats are pretty impressive. 34-5 for Broha, 24-11 for Sterling, 12-11 for Kevin De Bruyne, and 12-4 for Ocampos. But Mbappé's picked up a suspension for the Champions League final. What a bloody idiot. Which means I'm going to have to play Van Heck in that position. I mean, he's a decent player, but he's not on Mbappé's level, is he? And normally I would point out certain individuals that have impressed me, but this entire team is actually on another level. And you guys know the drill by now. I'm going to sit back and not relax whilst I watch Brighton become the best team in the world. Bernardo Silva to take. That's a poor delivery, but he's forced to save regardless. Head on that, but oh my days. Early signs of weakness at the back, man. We definitely missing Mbappé. Kevin De Bruyne has picked it up in the centre of the park. That's a great ball to Ocampos. And Ocampos has just decided, yeah, do you know what, mate? I feel generous. I'm going to give it to you today instead of my actual player. Marquinhos. Kevin De Bruyne. He's found Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling. Have a shot. Oh, that is a rocket into the top right corner of the goal. Pit that out your net, lad. Rafa's going to find Ramos. Back to Rafa. Oh, wow. Great keeping from Robert Sanchez. Van Heck against Velasco. I don't like this, boys. Inter Milan are closing in. They've had a shot. Sanchez forced to make another save. Oh, Inter Milan are pressing. That's a good... Oh, Sanchez with another save. Oh, no, 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 no. Sanchez again. It was a solid 45 minutes, but we need another goal. Oh, no, that could have been it. That could have been the goal I was talking about. Marquinhos is nowhere to be seen. None of our defenders are. Stupinan, Silva, can we... Oh, there's no way. Oh, my God. Sanchez is the best keeper on this game. I don't care what overall say. He is the best keeper on this game. Raheem Sterling on the wing now. He's surrounded by players who've gone back. That's a really nice bit of play. Oh, my God. Goretzka, what you playing at there, lad? One thing I've got to give us credit for is our defending, because we've been rock solid at the back. Lamptey, Ocampos. Ocampos has actually found Kevin De Bruyne with that back heel. If we play this right, that's his goals. That could have been curtains. That could have been curtains for Inter Milan, for God's sake. Less than 15 minutes to go, and we are lifting the Champions League trophy. Inter Milan have got one more chance in this game to equalise it and to send it to extra time. But, oh, what are they doing? Oh, they mucked around with it too much. Inter Milan have f***ed it up for themselves. Brighton have beaten Inter Milan, and we are officially the best team in the world. It's taken us 5 seasons without us being in any control of who we're bringing into the team, but we've done it. We have won the Champions League with Brighton. And if you enjoyed this video, you should click somewhere right here to watch me do this with Aston Villa.